Hello and welcome. Today comes in that of Thursday, the 23rd day of April 2020. My name is Derek. This is the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades, and of the like, well, that's within each's own risk, their own reward. For myself, risk reward management is always job number one. Before getting into the traditional markets that I like to cover, let's take a look at initial claims as the employment numbers came out today. This is from sources tradingeconomics.com, U.S. Department of Labor. And these numbers are just staggering. And they're obvious when you look at the economic lockdown and forced shutdown of a large amount of businesses. So before the Rudy Gobert incident, March 11th, that's when Rudy Gobert tested positive for the current event. And thus the stoppage of sports at that point, and then everything else that followed through there after that. Well, one of the things following through, well, before we had, these are in thousands, so 282,000 was the initial claims just before that event on the March 15th. Then it was 3.3 million, and then almost 7 for like 6.9, 6.6 million, 5.2, 4.4 today. I mean, I suppose you could say it's 3 weeks of a downtrend. And I'd also suppose if it's initial claims that just the sum of the last few numbers, given unlikely any of these people in this range here are back to work, that it's about 25 million with the sum of the last 5. And with the U.S. population north of 300 million, that's not that far away from that of 10%. Just on the population, that includes, of course, children and unable to work, and, of course, seniors as well. And like I've been saying, this is economic conditions we never had before. The fallout from the situation is not going to be one that people are going to be liking. And it's going to, unfortunately, bring some different times. And the different times, inflationary? Well, yeah, they're already stating about how beef prices in Canada are going to rise. Well, food inflation, the essentials, as I like to call it, they're the first one on the agenda. As we're moving into time now, I think inflation and deflation together being something that will be coming into play. As there's going to be situations where people are going to need cash. They're going to have to liquidate whatever they can as well. Anyway, as far as that, finishing off on that, let's now just get into the markets. First off, silver in at $15.58. It is 9:54 a.m. As of the recording of this video, we're at this time right now. And getting it above here, and it looks like maybe it might want to do that, but getting it above here would first be around 16 even, but a clear break of this level would be about 1670. And you could say, oh, we're up to that level of resistance. Kind of, I mean, that pretty much already is. So if we're going to come to a new area, I would think that at a break of this resistance, we'd at least come to about 17.7. On the short term via that of the hourly, it's had a nice little run so far with a lot of higher lows and higher highs so far. So therefore, whatever the top comes in on this time frame, I'll be looking, well, I won't be looking at it, but if you want something I would be looking at is, I might be, but whatever. Support here, or what's the low? Well, that low comes in at, let me just find it. It's 1458, 56. A low of 1456. So I'm going to take the high, whatever it happens to be currently in at 1572, divided by that to the root of 0.618. That would be a 38.2% down move, somewhere around here. As there's going to be a correctionary phase in here, but this thing is in a bull market right now. We've had these higher lows. So you still have to give these the better benefit of the doubt when you see something like this. Thus, again, when you see this starting to break out above these levels, well, that gives you a good indication that we're probably going to have a continuation to the upside. We've already had a test of this level in here. So therefore, this is the biggie, because if it gets by this, I mean, conservatively, yeah, it's at least to here, but after that, previous high there. Within the ratio of the futures and the silver spot price in here, the differential 30 to 57, that's 27 cents. That's near 2%, where the futures are that much higher. I got a whole bunch of other things on here, including Trump. They say he's got a 51% chance of being president. But all this short-term stuff is all nonsense according to the more longer term. Of course, oh my goodness. There we go. the longer term, the reason why you want to hold this is because it's a real asset. It's something that's really used in every day. I think everything. No, many different things need silver. It's also been industrial. Well, that's it. Industrial. It's also been a monetary metal, rather, for several years back in the past as well. And the day and age coming, I don't know how soon it's going to be, but it wouldn't be a surprise if it's this year, next year kind of deal, where there's a big panic for people trying to actually get that physical commodity. As Mike Maloney has stated in his videos, if you haven't heard of him, just search gold, silver, or the name Mike Maloney, he'll come up, that it would be unobtainium and unaffordium. And I think that's got a good chance of coming into play. And so monthly chart, a lot of this is just sideways action in this light range, 1380 to 19, whatever up there. Also premiums pretty high. That really the real price is at the upper end of the range that it has been over the last 5 or 6 years. And on the quarterly term time frame, you can see more of this sideways correction from, well, kilos and highs. Kilo, key high, key low down here, key high here. Wherever this low happens to be right now is going to be a key low. So we've already built in a higher low from the $4 level, which means, oh, we're going to have any of this type of deflationary move that comes down here. Well, this would be a higher low still over that. And it wouldn't be a surprise in these types of markets if stuff like that happens. And we've already seen what happens now with the premiums and everything in the situations if that were to occur. So I'd be very interested if and only if that situation is to occur again. And in this deflationary type of environment that can be in, that what would that mean for things like the stock market, which is currently up right now for the quarter, 7%, but it also lost 23 last one. And of course, it's been in this uptrend and a continuous uptrend. And you really can't say the same thing, of course, long term for silver, but within this, we have seen before, we've had big corrections down like this back in the 07 when people need to sell because of the times. That's going to be the case. And maybe because of the inflationary reasons, it just might be like all of the selling we've had before. Goes down below, then it goes back up. Just a little bit here, back up. All these little down moves in the 70s, back up again. And of course, the granddaddy of the one in the past. Will we have another one or one very close to similar, whichever? We'll see. But the whole point of it is, I think for stocks, and this to me makes the most sense, what's going to be is what's going to happen, of course, but that is which companies are going to survive this current, not only current situation of times event, but then the monetary reset. Companies that don't survive on the stocks, well, they're going to go to nothing. And the ones that thrive are going to do awesome, and the ones that survive are going to do well as also. But it could work out that your stocks later on might not be priced in dollars, they might be priced in some other asset class. And maybe one day stocks go on the blockchain like cryptocurrencies. Speaking of cryptocurrencies, let's move on to Bitcoin. And we'll start off within the quarterly chart. And I've drawn these lines here in the Bitstamp, and they've been in for over a week now, week to two, which is showing the symmetricalness within this. Obviously, uptrend big time, just phenomenal gains. Key low at about $2, key high near 1,000, key low near 200, key high at 20,000. Right now, this low is in at 3,100. And again, just like with the silver, another low would still be a higher one. Well, if it goes down to 1,000, same thing. To me, that's not the end of cryptos. A move to that if, and again, only if that situation comes into play. Although, I would normally say a must hold is a deep move from a key high to a key low. In this case, I am saying that this general area here, if it goes down, is the must hold area. Meaning, if it doesn't hold that, that's probably the end of the cryptocurrency days. And it then can become the tulip bubble that a lot of people have referred to this as. And that's, again, on that situation. As it goes, though, it's still within these two lines and pretty much near the middle part of it, or another way of saying it, decent ways to go up or down to even start talking about breaking the symmetricalness and getting out of neutral consolidation. will we have a pump or move up to these higher levels? Well, I do like within the daily chart how after this move on April the 6th, we have this correctionary play. An attempt on April the 18th and the 19th failed to break it out after this correctionary play. But within the failure, it succeeded for 3 days in correcting this move. A big red down day of 4% and very low volatile pausing it. But then the reversal back. The U-shape, that's a bullish situation and good follow through so far. So therefore, this is attempt number 2 since the high on April 7th to get this thing back up and going and breaking this level of resistance. I'd be looking probably next to go well into the, even into the 8,000 range, like 83, 84, 85 as a potential level of resistance. We're looking at about 16, 17% as a potential gain. Now let's move Bitcoin against the cross to gold, as it takes about 4.2 ounces of gold to buy 1 Bitcoin. So we're seeing Bitcoin was priced in a different asset class. And moving forward, this may be a more common price point where we'd be looking at gold. But as it goes, you got the exact same sort of situation of pretty much looking the same. We have this, and that's a terrible line, but the downtrend, uptrend. And at some point, you got to break the symmetricalness to one side or another. Unless gold goes not only super crazy, but super crazy without Bitcoin going even more super crazy, it will be Bitcoin that controls which side of this market of such. Because if Bitcoin does very, very well, this would go way up. Meaning, Bitcoin goes to 20, 30, 50, 60, 70, all that type of major gains, like 70,000, like 10, 20, 15x, 30x, whatever. Well, even if gold goes to like 3,000, 3,500, it's not going to matter. And then if Bitcoin goes down, well, gold could start going down too. It's not going to matter again either, because if Bitcoin goes down, we're talking about Bitcoin going down like 30, 40%, where gold goes down 7% or 10 or 12. So again, it's Bitcoin, because of its higher volatility, controlling these markets. But gold is an interesting beast. And we'll now take a look at that. I'm going to do altcoins after I'm done with gold. And since the breakout here last June, it has been nothing but an amazing progressive run. And when we look at just chart analysis, gain sideways, so try to understand what the story is telling you. Then we see the breakout that got above this level of resistance. So the combination of these two candles was really showing you that if you were able to get shorter term momentum breaking out above, that what we're seeing now is what was going to happen. And it's probably not even done as far as how much higher it's going to go, meaning to the weak resistance point of at least 1900 seems to be happening, or going to be happening probably this month into the next. There's only about a week left in the month, but it does seem as if that progress was going to be in play. Now, as far as what I'm stating about finding that shorter term situation in there, well, where were we able to see all of that? Because this is just a wild, wild chart. As far as all of this was going in here, we have this nice little uptrend, and then this really big, and this reminds me a lot right now of Bitcoin from March of 2017. Speaking of that, I'm going to actually take a look at that after this. Then I'm going to go to altcoins. But this is reminding me of March 2017 Bitcoin. Anyway, I'm just thinking of that now for the first time. As it was going up, it re-enters this level multiple hit and was just showing great stabilization. So as you see it breaking out here and in here, nice. And now even this, just breaking out in today's session, this thing looks as if this is poised and ready to be going off to break this resistance and then go higher. So then, let's take a look at Bitcoin again. And take a look at this back in 2017. And this is January, so we're looking. This is the event that I'm referring to here that I was thinking of. Maybe even more for this here. But anyway, let's move on to altcoins. And Might be a little frustrating on the theta because I see it's down to 1346 Satoshi. Well, up, depending on how you want to look at it. Yeah, Fibonacci's doing what it normally does. As you can see, 1386. And they usually pierce extra. Little smirk. 1388. Oh, 2 points higher. Not like it's a big sell order, but this little arrow here at 1392, because I figure, you know, it's going to pierce extra as it is anyway. I was looking at this, you know what, that's exactly where it's going to go. And I already sold a decent amount on the way up, and I was planning on selling more as was breaking, albeit too, though. But I had sell order because I trade theta against so many different things. But it comes up to this, and now, of course, it's had a decent short-term move lower, as you can see on the 1 minute. And that's when you start to say, okay, now let's look at Fibonacci. Now, which Fibonacci lows do we use from like a retracement? This high, the 1388, and what key low? We got this low in here. Okay, well, we also got this low here, but what else do we see? I mean, look at, I mean, you almost have to go even this low and lower, so let's go 15. Yeah, this is your low here. So now, if you wanted to see, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to find out what this low is. It comes in at 1089. I'm going to bring up my calculator. And I'm just going to move this. Yeah. So then the high is 1388. So if there's any type of corrections from here, these would be the key numbers I'd be looking at. In Satoshi, the big numbers at 1195 and that of 1265. First on the way down is 1311, 23.6, which, let's just take a look at this on the 1. So if we're going to go down any further, and a lot of times these levels, I don't know why it is like this, but they just happen to align themselves well within previous key points. Now mathematically, if Fibonacci levels like this always hit, they continuously always will, just based on the math actually, but without getting into those details, to me, I'd be thinking that if we falter here where we are, that's where we're going to go. Now, as it goes, we're already like a 15% Fibonacci pretty much at this point, and it's already decently down from this level. That I would need to see more than a break above this point on a short term for me to say, yep, we're back and going, because well, I'd want to look at something else like maybe like the 4 or 5 minute time frame. And realize that if there's any, this thing could keep on going down that level fast, but we could be facing a lower high, and this rally could be over for this point, and that would just be, I don't know, just see, for me with theta, I trade this against so many other coins. So let's just, I'm going to sort this by percentage moves. So gross coin, that's the, no, it's not the one. I haven't traded that against that one. Dash against theta. Nope, I want it, that's one I'm waiting to trade on but didn't. Litecoin and theta I did trade. Bitcoin Cash and theta I did trade. PivX and theta, that's what I'm waiting to make a trade on, is that cross there. Ripple and theta I did not trade. What other ones? I did trade theta and Teslas, wherever it's on here. Yeah, theta and Teslas I did trade. So I sold some of my theta. And I do so, it's really simple because I keep all my funds in hardware wallets. And thus, when I need to sell something, okay, how many do I want to sell? I'll calculate that. Then I'll go to my hardware wallet, send that amount that I'm looking to sell to, well, in this case, it'd be my Binance public key. And then it takes about 3 or 4 minutes, not even 3 or 4, like 2 or 3 minutes, even more accurately. And their 10 confirmations is in play, they're confirmed, and I can now sell it on the market. Then whatever I buy, I can withdraw those to the wallets in which they all go to, because every single one of these coins that I'm trading all are put into a wallet. So Theta, I got my own wallet for that, which also has the T-Fuel in there. Stuff like Ripple and Tezos I have on a different platform, and I got my private keys with that. Things like the Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and DGB, there's an interesting one right there. I want to go over that. I could put those on like a Trezor hardware wallet kind of deal, and it's pretty cool. Now, DGB is on fire right now, at 132 Satoshi against Bitcoin, but overall it's getting its ass kicked. Depends on where you want to look at it from. It's on fire from these lows at 53, so it is almost tripled, 2.5, greater than 2.5x. As we have a kilo, key high, kilo, yada yada with this, but right now, wherever this high happens to be has been phenomenal that when you have a run of this magnitude, the probability odds you make a higher low from the 70-ish or whatever level is extremely high. When this run will be over, tough to say. The log scales to me are very important because even though I got this set on log, this doesn't calculate this well. You have to, unfortunately, need a good trading account with TradingView. Although the CoinMarketCap has very good log scale charts, so there's free ones available to see it better. But I just times this by 100 million, and when I write in 100 million, it's 100, 3 zeros, and 3 zeros. So in this is going to allow me to see this on a better level, but when I do this, it goes to the highest volume 1, which unfortunately is Bitfinex. Okay, there we have it. So this shows us a better log scale with these 2007 lows at like 16 Satoshi and the highs at about 2300. And just random ACK numbers in that area can just work. So I can see here that 107, 345 key levels. So I can just quickly put in lines at those points. So 107. Oh, we found support here. That was luck. And piercing extra too. And then we have 345. My memory is... Although I didn't even try to memorize that number, which is probably the reason why I didn't. So as it goes right now... Oh, you can say, oh, it's breaking out. It's going higher. Maybe. Maybe. It still can be resistance piercing extra, which it usually does. Because if you look at it from this perspective... If this market is to do this, that would be resisting that key level most certainly. We need to see us hold this general area as support, and then you start to see this go in here. Yeah, we can still have a monstrous pierce, but if I could see this hold and stay in this area for a while, I'll be thinking, yeah, we could be making a move up to the 300s. And furthermore, if you start to see it rallying up to like 200, 210, 220, well, it's probably got more upward room left within its time frame to probably again break above the 340 handle. Next up is Tezos, which I've bought and sold today. Earlier I bought it for that of Theta, and then just most recently I sold some for Dash. And within this on the daily chart, well, I mean, this is a phenomenal move. Low, high, low, high. Right now we got this low in here. And we're entering this area of what I'll be basically calling weak resistance at around 4,000. If it's got, and it looks like it's going to do such. I like how it's been playing through. Whether it's going to take a while, maybe consolidate, come back to this little area here, we'll see. But as it goes, I do like for a few days how we spent 3 days resisting this key level, plus this day here following through. And then yesterday and today's session is showing that clear breakout to that point that our next test of 35.32 should be coming in play on the shorter term time frame. Just a phenomenal run. So you can even start saying that as it was getting up to 32.40, like 32.60, that this is well extended and been up too much. Well, it's continuing to go higher, and it probably will continue to do so. One thing of note, though, is breaking of resistance lines. I'm not going to draw it in, but if you connect this high with this high with this high with all these highs, this high, It looks to me as if it's got the potential to be breaking in and with an uptrend resistance line that breaks. Expect a very large size or 2 or 3 in sequence type deal of great phenomenally large moves. Of course, breaking in a resistance would be that to the upside. Just for whatever fun 15-minute term. Yeah, I was nothing else more to say about that. And there really isn't anything. I talked about Dash, how I thought it was really to break down or break out. It's breaking down in here, as we can see on the 15-minute. That's just nothing too big. But as far as the daily chart is, the setup is still looking good. It's holding on the 18 average of highs. We got this key high, this key low. Higher lows come into play. We've established this resistance not only here, but that's where we go to. But this is major point, like 1150 or so handle. Higher lows. So I like how this setup is in play, but it hasn't had the breakout as of yet. And until it doesn't, it won't. But it's if it doesn't break out anytime soon, pending, of course. Well, it's either going to be a very neutral situation where it's just going to be with this key level of support, but most likely it'd be if the 110 handle, the 10, even the 103, 104 handle, if this general area here, I think this is really the must hold point. Yeah, the even number. If the 0.01 handle really shows the weakness in here, if you start to see starting to break down from it, you're holding and staying below in this area for a while, then I'd be probably looking at the odds of it going down to the 8100 handle. But I still think this has got the good situation to go up. And the reason why I bought it was just simply because of the ratio numbers that it works out with. It was about a 16, 17% differential from the last time when I traded Teslas and Dash. And I've been waiting for days and days and days to buy this. Okay, that's... Okay, XTZ and Dash. Do I not have it on here? Okay. Okay, so it's the... No, I have it on here. Just... Where is it? Right here. All right, so on the daily chart, it has went down to a level at 33 that, well, back in here, I was selling Dash on the way up. And then now on the way down, I'll be selling Teslas for Dash. And when the markets can move like this is why I like to make these types of trades. This is just phenomenal when you can have 83 go down to like 30, we'll say, or 25, up to close to 100, back down again to the area of under 30. Not as much of a move here, but 43 now, of course, down to 32. And 43 down to 32. That's a differential of 11 points. And 11 divided by 32 is a 33% move, just this. Anyway, that'll be it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.